Working on installing the BeatDown dual graph mount with the quick disconnect. I'm going to have my Garmin mounted here. Need to tighten these screws up. I'll need to mount my Hummingbird on this side. The holes on the bracket for the Hummingbird are going to need to be drilled out a little bit. And then the other part is this plate needs to go underneath the deck, so the deck is sandwiched in here. And it's very hard to tell, but the distance between here and here, this is a greater distance. So for the quick release mount, I'm going to have to use those 4 holes. I'm assuming if I did not have the quick release, the mount would be in the holes that are closer to the edge. They're not off by much, but they are just a little bit. So the challenge is going to be first trying to get my hand underneath the deck to get the screws. I can drill the holes with no problem. There are, I don't know how much can be seen. Right about here is a stringer, and so there'll be another stringer here. So I've got this angled so that my holes will be parallel with the stringer, and then my quick release mount be at a little bit of an angle for me to grab, which hopefully will be a little bit better. Attempting to show the what I'm working with, I can just barely get my arm down in this hole. I may have to cut this a little bit bigger so that I can get my hand underneath here to be able to get to the screws when I drop them through. We've already cut this hole bigger when I mounted the trolling motor, but I lost one of my screw holes, so I need to fix that at some point in time. Screw hole right here. But I cannot get from this hole to where I need to be here, and this hole is going to be very tight. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to film the drilling of the holes and everything else. One thing I will mention is the holes in this plate are smaller holes than are actually in this mount. So if you're doing this, make sure your drill size is for these holes, not these, because these will make it too big. So the holes I've drilled are 11/32 holes, and in theory everything will line up. Looks like they're going to line up, at least from this side. Now getting the bolts on the other side, that could be another issue. So even though for some reason I decided I needed washers on the nuts that go underneath the deck, I put a little bit of caulk to try and keep the washer together, because I can only pinch it with 2 fingers reaching in that limited space. So right now I've got these 2 bolts have nuts on the bottom with washers. These 2 are still loose, but they're into the plate, and just keep moving along slowly. So now the base mount for the quick disconnect is mounted. I've got, these are 1/2-inch bolts to put those in. Because the holes were countersunk, I did washers on both sides. These 2 bolts were really tough to get to and putting a washer on. So what I had to do was I used some caulk to caulk the washer to the bolt or to the nut, and then I was able to hold it between my 2 fingers and get it started. All of these nuts underneath are the ones with that plastic lock part of the nut so that they hopefully will not come loose. So now that the mount is in, I can work on actually putting the rest of the BeatDown double graft mount up. So I've got both grafts mounted. I've got my Garmin 10-inch, and this is a Humminbird Helix 10. I can loosen them up. They can swivel a little bit if I want. They're not going to be in the way of the trolling motor. If I want to drop it down, just loosen that. That's probably the shorty height. It's probably not even on the camera at this point. I probably won't use it with that height. I'll probably use it somewhere around here. Do that. Now I need to figure out where to put my black box, and I bought a NiCad, a battery for the from Amped Outdoors, so I can run the Garmin and the black box. That'll give me about 20 volts. My cables reach for the Humminbird. So we should be good to go when I hit the water. So here I'll have my 360 display. Here I'll have my my Panoptix live scope. So this is a graph. So it's not fully extended, but I know part of it's off camera. Loosen them, drop it down. So that would probably be about the BeatDown shorty mount, is what I'm guessing. And then if we pull this, you have to loosen that. Pull this. That'll be everything so that I can travel with. So hopefully you can see that. That's not going anywhere. So we should be good for going fishing. Then to do the quick release, come down, make sure some of these are tightened up, loosen up the one knob, turn it, pull it right up, and you've got your quick release. Tighten it up. You're back in business. So I'll be using the quick release because I tarped the boat, and it'll just lay here on the deck.